Exciting. So let's see. Do you want to start, Manny, or do you want me to do my portion first?
It's your call, Amy, because mine will last about more than an hour, maybe my estimate.
More than an hour? Okay, let's see. This is what I'll do. I have two things to discuss. One is
Okay.
or two topics. One is kind of involved and long and it's really heady, like a lot of head stuff. And then the other one is more practical about teaching methodology. So I think I'll do the teaching methodology and then I'll let you go and then we'll see
Okay.
where we are. Okay? All right. Let me share and go to that document. All right. So I mentioned before that I believe that we as teachers develop our own teaching practice. And by teaching practice, I mean certain standards that we set for ourselves and practices that we put in place so that we know that we're giving our best, right? And this is, of course, as we're striving to be excellent in whatever it is we're doing, in this particular case, teaching yoga. So I just listed some elements that I feel are can be important components of a teaching practice. And it's not comprehensive. You know, you may have other suggestions as well. And some of these may not be as relevant to you, may or may not. But I feel like this is the foundation um, practices that will make you the best teacher that you can be or set you up as an actual professional. Because I feel like yoga teachers tend to sometimes not be as deliberate or as intentional about their teaching, and it's because I mean this may not be true anymore. I'm talking maybe 5, 10 years ago because it was more of a hobby or kind of a feel good type of vocation where people do it because they really like yoga and they enjoy the people that you can spend time with, and it's sometimes it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, almost self-centered type of thing to do because it's almost like it's permission to do whatever you want. Like it's like an escape from structure. That's a better way to put it. Yoga becomes like an escape from having to follow rules or having to do what everyone else does. It's out of the box. So I feel like it's important to set standards for yourself on how you're going to approach this endeavor of teaching yoga. And I listed here what I feel they are, and we'll kind of go over them one by one. So the first one happens to be self-care. And that means that you take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because you, as the teacher, are a role model in a lot of cases. You talked about this too, Manny. So, self care meaning you do those things that you hope your students will do, or you do the things that you teach your students to do, like taking care of their mind, like finding peace, studying, disciplining your habits, cleaning up your life, right? And then self-discipline goes along with that, where you take care of your body, you move your body, not just in yoga practice, but you're aware of your different um, physiological needs, like drinking enough water and eating healthy and um, interacting peacefully with other people, learning patience, compassion, all these qualities that are beyond just teaching asana. Those are the kinds of things you want to continually develop yourself. And then comes the practical practice of planning a class. And that's what we've spent quite a lot of time talking about. And then there's also preparing for the class, meaning not just the sequence and what you're going to do, but actually you yourself, right? So when you come into a class, whatever energy you have, you will bring it in there with you. So you need to either be aware of what that is, what kind of energy you're bringing in, and manage it. And you can eventually get really good at this. Like, I mean, can't tell you how many times I've come from a stressful situation, either at home or just stuff I need to do. And then, oh, it's time to go teach a class. So you have to be able to drop into that state of being calm, being open-minded, being peaceful, and being present for your class, right? Does that make sense, everybody, so far?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really hard. But that's also a wonderful practice because it teaches you how to, first of all, how to let go, how to put things aside, right? Sometimes when we have a problem in our daily life, we want to just solve it, resolve it before we can do anything else. Well, sometimes you can't. And so you have to learn how to put it in a little folder in your mind, set it aside for later, and turn your attention to that you're going to be in the class. And then setting up the environment of your class, meaning not just the music, but the lighting. I feel like the lighting is really important. Um, being open and ready to receive your class, meaning you are ready to pay attention to them as they come in. And I think we've talked about this before, gathering information about how they're doing and where they're at in their day, their life, in their moment. And then there's the physical environment. Ideally, we'd like our space to be tidy, to be zen, to have decor that's consistent with the kind of mood, for lack of a better word, that you're setting up. Like, I mean, I don't know if everybody's sensitive to this, but I am more sensitive to it. Like, there's a studio here. You might have heard of it, Kyla. It's called Yoga 6 because it's a franchise. So they're all over. But they set up multicolored LED lights along the floor. So it kind of has like almost like a club feel. So I don't particularly enjoy it. And then they turn the lights down kind of low, like a club, and then they play loud music, loud, fast music. So it's so different, right? I mean, if that's what you're aiming for, more power to you, do what you do. But if what you're aiming for is a calming, kind of mindful atmosphere, you set up the environment that is consistent with that. And it's only going to help you out. It'll help you attain what you're hoping to attain. So it's another tool. And then connecting to students, which I've talked about before and mentioned earlier, and efficient. And then this next part is the actual teaching. So 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we'll spend more time on this as well later. So efficient and effective cueing, meaning your use of words. And we talked about how you want to tell them the breath, the body part and which direction that body part is going. That's the bare bones. And also to name the pose. So those are in aims of being really efficient so that it's not too wordy. Sometimes when it's too wordy, it's actually distracting and it takes them out of their body. So you want them to be able to stay present in their body and not interfere with their own experience with too many too much cluttered words. Now some teachers give a lot of cues. Like they'll give little minutia detail and of different movements, internal movements, and that can help some people. Some people need or thrive in that kind of structured teaching, and that's fine too. So maybe be aware of what your approach is and what you want it to be. And you can also do a combination. Um, I have a new group that that I'm teaching I've been teaching them for about 2 months now. And it's a new space with people that are just starting and um, very much beginners. So I give them a lot of cues because they're still becoming connected to their bodies. So if they can experience, something new and unique by being super present in their body, finding these muscles, that muscles, that could be helpful for them. On the other hand, if they don't have enough body awareness, it may just be frustrating because they can't feel all of those. So you kind of have to weigh it out, right? So on the other hand, the class that I've been teaching for a long, long time, many years, I don't give them as many minute details because we've been together for a long time. They've heard me forever, and um, they know how I cue, so they follow it, and they are also really strong and they're very body aware. So I don't have to give them as much, but sometimes I still will. Like today, the class that have been teaching for several years, we did more detail on Surya Namaskar A, because it's always good to get a reminder. Sometimes we forget and we get sometimes a little lazy. And so I did a little more detail on Surya Namaskar A. And also, you'll find that as you practice while you're teaching, while you're a teacher, you'll discover new things, and you can share those with your as you go along. And that's really that's the hope, is that you'll keep learning, which means your teaching keeps getting more substantial. Okay, lessons beyond the mat, meaning it's really good to drop little bits of wisdom here and there as they come to you or as you have discovered them on your own, because it gives them something else to think about as well, and it involves higher brain functions. And that feels good, I think, right? So it's not just all body, body, body. And then these last two we haven't talked about as much, and we'll do more of these two. Number 9 is demonstrating. Like how and when do you demonstrate for your class? And how do you stand? How do you walk around? How do you hold yourself as the teacher? And the last one is modeling. So it's more than just demonstrating the actual poses. It's actually modeling the posture, your body mechanics, and as well as your personality and your warmth and your connection to your students. Okay?
The one question I have
Yes.
for you, Amy, when it
Yes.
comes to these teaching methodologies.
Mm-hmm.
Some teachers, which I cannot do, they can cue and demonstrate at the same time. Me, I can only do one. Either I demonstrate, then I cue, IQ,
Yeah.
because if I demonstrate, I lose contact with the students and I don't see them anymore because you have to be also. So, do you do that? How do you cue
Yeah.
and
There's a
demo at the
cost.
same time? Huh?
There is a cost to doing that. Yeah, you're not able to watch your students if you are in your own body and you're in your own on your mat, doing the poses as you're talking through it. Yeah, you're not able to stay 100% focused on them. So that with that again, you have to decide, is it more important for me to focus on them right now, or is it okay for me to demo and not really focus on them? So going back again to these two different classes that I teach, one I've had for a long time and one are new. So the ones that I've had for a long time, I can move more with them because again, we know each other really well and I know them. And not only do I know what they can do, but I know what they can't do. And they also know what their modifications are. They get it. They have their own
Okay.
they're good. So I don't feel as concerned, but I will break. Like maybe I'll do a couple of poses and then I'll watch them. So during each class, I'll always take some time to watch them. Like, well, sometimes what I'll do is I'll do one side with them and then I'll watch them do the other side. Because I do want them to still know that I'm watching them.
Okay.
And then the new people, I will watch them a lot more because we're all still learning. Sometimes I will demo first, especially if it's a complicated, maybe a two or three movements that are a little bit complicated or new. I'll demonstrate it first before I talk them through it. So I'll say, watch me do this first, and I'll show them, and then I'll talk them through it.
So it's an alternate thing,
Yeah,
demo and cue.
yeah. Unless you face them. If you want to face them so that you can look forward the whole time, you can do that and move while you're talking, while you're watching. And that's also possible. And it's really helpful to learn how to mirror. So when you are doing the right side, since you're facing them, that's their left. So you have to do the right while saying the left.
Yeah, I'm used to doing the mirroring because I do the TRX. That's where I got trained in
Oh,
mirroring.
yeah. Yeah. So that's
So
another skill. Yeah. Just another skill to learn. Do you understand what
to
that
the
means?
point that I already forgot what is my left and right.
I know sometimes that's funny. Yeah. Do you know what we're talking about, Kyla?
I think so.
So like you're facing the class, so you're a mirror image to them. So when you want them to go to the right side, it's actually your left. So you say right, but you do left. You have to do a little thing in your head, a little switch. It's almost like talking in a foreign language, but not as difficult, obviously. That's all. That's all that is. Okay, any other thoughts on these ideas?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
You know me, I only simplify my teaching into three categories.
Mm-hmm.
One, I have to be a guru to them, meaning imparting wisdom. And then on the side of after being a guru, you have to be a coach, like giving them knowledge and training them how to acquire skills. And the third one is a cheerleader.
Oh, that's
You know, they
good.
love customers. So those three, you can put in all those 10 into just three
Into those three
categories.
categories. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. I
So
like that.
that's the so I just balance the three when do you have to be more of a guru or more of a coach or more of a cheerleader.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
any
That's
given
excellent.
time.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. All right, so you're up, Manny. You ready?
Yep. And you when you are. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. So this is Manny's presentation. I'm gonna he had to send it to me so that I can show it because I couldn't share because he couldn't do the share screen. So take it away, Manny, and just tell me when to
Yeah,
turn.
we're going to be talking about the anatomy of Eka Pada Koundinyasana I, how to go there. So you can shift now to the next slide.
Okay,
Next
you
slide.
know what? I better double check that I'm recording. Hold on. Because I thought I was, but I meant to make sure. I want to be able to share this. Hold on. I'm sharing.
That's her recording still.
Am I? Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, click it. Actually, Eka Pada Koundinyasana is actually a combination of two poses while doing the arm balance. One, can you click the next effects? Yeah, it's a combination of the revolved triangle pose or the revolved half moon pose. When your lower body is doing those poses. On the upper side, you are doing like a chaturanga. So a chaturanga plus a floating triangle pose. Can you click another one text? These are the benefits. You can improve your sense of balance, strengthen your core and upper body. Because of the twisting, you can also strengthen the spine. And because of the contraction and the crunching of your mid part, you rejuvenate the digestive organs. However, there are contraindications to this. Click another one. There is a contraindication to this practice. You cannot do this if you have injuries in your wrist, elbow, or shoulder. You have lower back pain and abdominal. You just underwent some abdominal surgery. So otherwise, you are good to go. So next slide, ma'am.
Question, Manny, what was it again in the lower body? You said that, so
You are doing the revolved half moon or revolved triangle pose.
okay,
That's the position. You look at my legs. That's in a
got it.
position of
Oh
yeah,
yeah, up there. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
yeah, like that. So it's like a revolve. So
Gotcha.
how do you plan the sequence for success, no, for your students to do the EPK one? First, click one. Yeah, of course, you do have to do some warm up, and the warm up must be connected to the movements that they will do in the next sequences. Like you're preparing them for the possible movements that they have to do, but not in a very rigorous way, but just introducing their body to those movements. And number two that I considered in those warm-up is it also served as a diagnostics for me to find out of their capabilities as practitioners. Because there are some movements that I introduce in the warm-up which I can see if they can really do both balancing in the arm and at the same time twisting their body. And their ability of their upper body to move forward and back through what they call the plank sauce. Next click.
One more or
My sequence, yeah, the sequence, that's the first sequence is me, ang target ko is to wake up the core. And I want to fire up immediately their obliques with a little bit of simple twist. And also at the same time, create some hip mobility. So there are poses there that are actually doing those things. Like I do the revolve highlands, the warrior tree to going into revolve half moon. So I'm already introducing them to those oblique poses. And then also I would like to test their core stability while doing those challenging positions. But if they cannot maintain that core, then we have a problem. So we have to work on that, and they have to be more aware of those challenging transitions. The sequence, next click, ma'am. The sequence 3 will do more deepening of their twist, intensifying the activation of their core muscle, specifically the obliques. And the movement there will be a preview of the big pose. So they will already have some idea. If they cannot deepen the twist and put their arms over the other side of the thigh of his thigh, then he will have a problem carrying his body up. So I will know from that point already if they will succeed. The last sequence, number 4, click it now. Now, in the sequence 4, I want to create more mobility in the outer hips and the IT bands. You know, the IT bands is sometimes the one limiting our adduction and our adduction, because if you have a tight IT band, it's really it will really hurt, and it will really limit your movement into
Are
that
you
pose.
aware of that? What that is, Kyla? Excuse me. The IT band is a really long tendon that runs on the outside of the thigh.
It's not a muscle; it's actually a tendon
A tendon.
to
So
protect you. Yeah, to protect your body from
it
going
goes,
sideways.
yeah, right here.
I'll show it, Mami. I have a picture of that.
Oh,
Later.
okay. The anatomy, that's right. Okay.
And then I set the foundation of the peak pose. No? Your arm is basically the foundation. And
Mhm.
then lastly, that is where I'm going to break down the movements. No? How to go into that. I broke it down into 7 to 8 movements. Last one is the cool down. Complete another one. Yeah. It will reset the body to its normal state. And of course, that is through Savasana. We can now do the rest and digesting.
Mhm.
Next slide, please. You can ask questions anytime you want.
Mhm.
So let's go to the core, because there are 3 areas I'm going to take up, because this is the core, the
Mhm.
hip movements, and the twist. What are the these are the 3 elements in this sequence. No? So the first thing first, what is the core? So I just want to give a background there on what the core is all about. No, number one, it is the container for our internal organs. No? They run across. The problem with that is that they do not have bones around that. It's only the spine and the hips going there. So not much of bones there. So we need a very good and strong abdominals to be able to carry ourselves. So because of that core in the middle, not much bone, there is more mobility involved. You can move sideways, backward, forward, because of that part of our body which has no bones. No?
Mhm.
And then it also stabilizes the upper body, because you cannot move if you have a very weak core. So it supports the upper body. And also it helps the hips in carrying the upper body. And lastly, it controls the position of the pelvis. So if your pelvis are turning, your core is the one that is stabilizing it. With a weak core, that's where you might possibly have a lot of pain in your body, especially around the hip area. Next slide. Some APQs, what is core strength? It means the strength of the underlying muscles of the torso, which help determine your posture. Why do you have to have a strong core? A strong core, flexible core underpins almost everything that we do every day. Even washing the dishes. If I don't engage my core when I'm washing the dishes, oh my God, my back will hurt. So
Mhm.
all those things, everyday life, the core is part of your life.
Mhm.
And how do you get it? Yoga is one of the a good way to train and strengthen the muscles around the pelvis, the lower back, hips, and abdomen to work in tandem. They have to work in tandem. It's not just the core doing everything. Your hips and upper body are working together. So you are actually co-activating all those parts. But the core is the catalyst. No? And what is core stability? Core stability is you have the ability to support your spine and keep the body stable and balanced. Next slide. You can ask question anytime. No?
Oh, these are
Uh,
great.
there are there are 3 types of core strength. One is the static core, which exemplified in Tadasana in planks or Chaturanga. The dynamic core, meaning the ability of core muscles to resist force that changes its plane of motion. For example, transitioning from one pose to another. A good example is the cat cow. And the prime mover there is also the, the core.
Mhm.
And core for stability, meaning you use the core muscles to align or distribute the force to stabilize the body in a static or dynamic movement, which is basically present in standing and balancing poses. In this case, it's a crow flow. By the way, those pictures are my teachers.
Oh, it's nice. I thought they might be. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next slide. Uh, the main component of core is, of course, the 4 layers of muscles on our midline on our abdomen. The deepest one is the TA. It's the deepest one. Number 2 is the internal oblique, the 3 external oblique, and the rectus abdominis. In our pose today, the most important one is number 3, the external oblique. That is because that is the one that will initiate the twisting. But it must be held by our TA to keep it there, because the external oblique alone cannot keep it there for a longer time. So if you want to do it for a longer period, say 2-3 breaths, you need the TA to be activated along with it. Yeah, next one.
Good job.
Yeah, the next core that is very important to me, it's the core of the core. It's the psoas. The psoas is actually a combination of two muscles, the psoas major and the iliacus. The muscles that's connected to your lumbar spine, going all the way to your to the femur, to the head of the femurs.
Inner thigh.
Both of them. The iliacus is a muscle inside your pelvis, going again past going to the head of the femur. So, in whatever we do, in whatever movement that we do, we have this deep muscle in our body that is engaged. That's why they call it the soul of our body, because it's in there, but you cannot touch it. You don't even sometimes feel it, but you know it's there, because when you can hold the pose longer and you can do a lot of those movements, you can be more functional. It means that your psoas are working.
So the
Those two.
psoas, you can see how, like, I'm just imagining with the legs in that 90-degree position, that's the femur bone. Those are right there. So those are the ones, that's the muscle that's going to be keeping that leg there, right?
Yeah, that those are connected just under the figurehead, the head and the behind that.
Right.
I forgot the name, acromion or something that's behind it.
It's the antebellum.
Yeah, the antebellum. That's it.
Very good. I like.
Okay, next slide. But let's not forget about the diaphragm. Actually, the diaphragm is on top of our abs. No? It's hovering over our ab muscles. That's a very important muscle, because when you breathe, an exhale, inhale, and exhale, that is where you can really be more effective in engaging your core. And also, in breathing in, what I do is that when I breathe in, I really gather all the energy using my intercostal muscles, the one that, interspersing in our ribs, the one that you chew when you're eating the spare ribs. Those are the intercostal muscles. So you recruit them so that you will have more air in your body to inhale. So when I go into an arm balancing poses, I do the 3-part breathing, engaging my mula bandha, and then keep on inhaling until I can stabilize myself. When I'm stable, that is where I can start breathing out.
So do you go into the challenge of the arm balance on an inhale?
Yes, me. On my I do the 3-part breathing. Yeah. Keep on breathing from your stomach all the way to your solar plexus, all the way to your throat. Because it's very important.
So the 3-part breath is inhale from chest to belly?
No, from the belly, from the mula bandha.
So you
It's
started
actually the
bottom?
bandha. Yeah. You started engaging your Kegel. You do the Kegel movement, and then to your solar plexus, then to all the way to your throat.
And you do that on an inhale?
Yes, inhale. So
The
when I'm already in the pose, I do a little bit of sip on my throat, like bringing some air into my throat. That's the last sip.
Okay.
And then when I feel stable, that's the time I will exhale.
Oh, that's so interesting. I've never tried it before. Yeah. That's really interesting.
When you're older, they're telling me, "Oh, how come you can do that? Your feet are even higher." That's when the wisdom of old people can come in. You gather all those techniques and put them together.
That's really great. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah. And then, of course, you need the back muscles to stabilize your spine. No? So
Mhm.
the major component of the core when it comes to the spine is the erector spinae. These are the muscles, parallel to your spine.
Mhm.
It's the one that straightens your spine or bend it. So that is the one that you need to. And then the QL at the side of your body that stops you from really falling.
Mhm.
There are 5 heads of that. It extends and stabilizes the lumbar spine. It's very important. Without that, our spine, lower body will be lower spine will be injured. No?
That's
And
sort
then
of
you have
like
the uh,
that looks like the backside of the psoas. Kind
yeah.
of,
It's
yeah.
no, it's not the backside. It because so much emanating from the lumbar. Unlike this one, it emanates the quadrus lumborum is on from your ribs, the bottom of your ribs. But
To
it
to the
also
iliac
yeah it
to the
also
iliac
parallel.
crest. Yeah, it
Yeah,
goes to the iliac crest. And the ones in
yeah,
the front goes from the lower back to the femur.
yeah.
Yeah.
The last one that we need to activate is our lats or
Mhm.
latissimus dorsi. It's very tricky because it's a big muscle from behind around the lower back, going all the way to your humerus. It's
Mhm.
connected, and
The
it's getting tiny. That's why some people, if they cannot do the down dog and they cannot really press down their underarm, their armpit to face the floor, they have a very very tight lats,
Mm.
and it will be difficult for them to really go into these
Mhm.
poses. So you really need to stretch that, and strengthen it at the same time. And
Yeah.
additional are the multifidus. It's the muscles that is connected to each of the vertebrae. Unlike the erector spinae, it's a strong muscle stretching out from on top of the spine. But this one is connecting each vertebrae. So when they say the teachers say rise up vertebrae by vertebrae, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they're activating one by one, but rather the section of the of the spine that is actually
Yeah.
articulating from the
Yeah.
lower back, mid back to upper back. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then one of the most tightest muscle in our back is the trapezius. That's why you get sometimes neck pains because our trapezius are tight. And sometimes you want to massage our neck. It's not there that is tight. It's the trapezius that is really tight. That's line up your shoulder all the way to your mid back. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Then the next one. Uh, the last one of the core that we have to understand also are the gluteus, both the maximus and the medius muscles. Because when you contract that, when you engage them, it will help the core from being tightened. Just sometimes feel it when you tighten the core, but your glutes are soft. It's not as you're going to struggle a little bit. But when you start tightening your throat, like what I say to my students, I want your butt to be as hard as the apple, not applesauce, not apple pie. It has to be apples, not applesauce. So when you're in a plank, you tighten it, you can hold it longer, and also you can do the mula banda in that sense. It's very hard to do the mula banda. In a way, like the students, like sucking your butt, like you want to, you know, to control your bowel movement. That's
Yeah.
yeah. That's why the gluteal muscle works in tandem with the pelvic floor muscle, especially the piriformis. It
Mm.
stabilizes the joints, the connecting joints.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, so people who have tight piriformis, tight pelvic muscles, will definitely have in the future piriformis syndrome, which includes the sciatica. It's a very painful experience.
Mhm. Next one.
And these are the things that I sample of strengthening the core, which I use in the sequence is of course the plank. I don't have to go details on the alignments of the plank, but that's a very important. I just want to show you the engagement of the glutes, the lengthening of the spine, and the tacking of the pelvis. You don't want your pelvis to be tacking out up. It must be neutral.
Mhm.
And most female students that I have, I notice them to, in a plank position, they tend to flare their hips up because they're used to that. Instead of using the, because when you do that, when you flare up your butt, you do not really, your core muscle, especially the abdominals, are not effective. They cannot engage much. So you will have, that's why you will have a lot of pain and you will have a big problem because your arms are working so hard without the core, the abdominals helping you up to lift your butt, to lift your entire body. But sometimes what I do is that because of that, they have a problem with that. So we do the variation, no? The forearm plank. So go to the next slide now.
Right.
The plank pose. Oh, you have not transferred. I forgot to cue you. Another slide now.
Okay.
That's the plank pose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Click it. Oh, how come it's I have some. Click it. Yeah. Oh, why did it animate? I remove all the animations.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Why is it animating now? Go to next slide.
This is a
So
forearm.
that's a forearm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the elbows, the entire forearm, from the elbow all the way to your hands pressing down on the mat. And then of course, the iconic pose. Next slide. Please.
I want to look at the plank. That looked interesting. Can I look at that? All of these here?
Yeah.
Shoulders over the wrists. Broaden shoulders. Okay, yeah. Lengthen chest lifted up. Core. Reach glutes. Pelvis tuck. Thighs lifted. Legs straightening down. Heels plus back. Feet at hip. Kneecaps pulled up. Yep. Arms straight. Collarbones broad. Gaze a few inches away from the floor. I like these arrows. Yeah. So what's this arrow represent?
Actually, most of the time, it's not just pushing down. You're pushing down and a little bit back. So you're creating, you're like as if you want to squeeze your mat towards the center.
Oh, I
Your
see.
feet is not actually pushing out, but pushing in to really tighten the body. But if you're pushing out and it's very hard to control the midline. But if you are to help your abdomen from being from engaging, you push a little bit back. That's like in upward facing dog or cobra. You don't really push forward, but it's an isometric movement. You are not really moving the
Yeah.
hand, but you are just doing
Energetically, you're pulling back, pulling energy back. So what's the toes forward? Is that the heels forward and then?
Actually, because I'm really discouraging in putting too much of your toes down, but I would rather see more of your balls of your feet down.
Okay.
Some strong people can do the toes, but to me, uh, the balls of the feet is more effective.
Okay. All right.
So go to the next slide, which is basically some explanation on the benefit of that pose.
Okay.
It is the forearm plank. And the next one is the chaturanga.
Okay.
Go to the next. Yeah, that's it. Similar, except that this time your elbow flexed. Yeah.
And then her heels are more forward here.
Yeah.
Right. So she shifted forward. Yeah.
Yeah. To be able to put your body in your hands in the midline, so you can see that the arms are
right. They're here, lined up here.
Yeah. Yeah. That is very important. Some people who cannot do that will have a hard time in the imbalances because you are actually shifting the weight of your chest forward to balance.
Oh, you mean
and also
dipping the shoulders down? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or some
when
people dip the shoulders, dip the chest down as they come down to the chaturanga, and then the hips are up. So they come down like in a sort of a V position almost. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it must be equal force.
Yeah. Yeah.
That lady, you seem to be flaring out because she's really got big butt.
She's what?
Her butt is like a Mexican butt.
Yeah. Looks
it's
great.
always sticking out. Yeah. Is it great?
It looks great. I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Okay, ready?
Next slide, please.
Okay.
So that's the benefit. That's the benefit, just to
To
give
look
you an
at this,
idea and develop you. Yeah.
the
And then the
core,
next slide, please.
core. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you
Skip to the
spend
next.
time in the chaturanga holding it as part of the strengthening, or do you just pass through?
Yeah, what I do is from plank, I want them to count to 5 going down before they can all go down.
So
Because
slowly
uh,
come down.
tendency is when you go to lower yourself to chaturanga, sometimes they do it so fast. I
Mhm.
want them to have some energetic, in a slow tempo, so
Mhm.
that there will be some force also going
Some
down.
control. So more control.
Pushing, yeah. You have to push down to be able to lower yourself. Otherwise, yeah.
Do you have them hold it in chaturanga at all?
Depending on my objectives of the class. Sometimes I do, sometimes I do that. So sometimes I go all the way down for them to
Oh,
do it, and then I tell them to lift up their body to plank, not
right.
passing through cobra or upward dog.
So,
Depending on the strength of the students present.
well,
So
for this
I
for
can see.
this for this particular sequence, since you are preparing them for Eka Pada, which is in a chaturanga position, would you incorporate that then for them to hold the plank,
Uh,
or is that?
you know what? When I did this, all these poses that I prepared,
Mhm.
it will be tiring if you ask them to do those things, and they will not have enough energy when they have to do it. Just
Gotcha.
as a teacher, you also have to calculate how much effort do you want them
Mhm.
to to spend in terms of going into the peak pose, because some teachers they overdo it to the point that when it's about time to do the peak pose,
They're
the body
tired.
is weak already. It was weakened already. So you as a teacher, you have to have a feel how much you can ask them to do,
Yeah.
just right enough. Just like in cooking a food, you cannot overspice it. So
Yeah,
just
but
add a little.
I have to say though, from a kinesiology point of view, if you give them rest time, they can recover. You just have to
Yeah,
give
but
them time to rest in between, like in between strength poses. Um, the muscles do recover. It
yeah.
takes maybe a minute for the creatine to replenish. So that's the power energy source. So
Mm-hmm.
they can recover if you just
Oh,
give them time. But if you
oh.
keep them flowing through and you don't give them any time in between to recover, yeah, they'll get tired.
I ask them to do 5 breaths of child pose, just to rest for a
Yeah,
while on each
yeah,
side.
rest.
Yeah,
Or add in a little stretch, like shoulder
yeah,
stretch, arm
yeah.
stretch, tricep stretch, that kind of thing.
Very
Okay.
effective is the clasp hands behind the back
Oh
for the
yes, yeah,
shoulder.
right here.
Very effective.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good. Mhm.
Next slide.
Okay.
You're now into the knee to elbow. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, the knee to elbow. Yeah. I
Nice.
want to see this because I want to see the flexion side of their capability to flex. And at the same time, extension of their other leg. So to me, the knee to elbow plank is a preparation towards a deeper twist later on. So I ask them to do that every time we enter into say high plank or warriors. I always ask them to do that so that they can be aware of the flexion side of the one leg. No?
I see. Hip flexion, you mean?
Yeah, hip flexion.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the benefit. Next slide. The benefit.
Mhm.
Don't have to linger on that. And then as a preview also of the possible pose later on, I asked them to do the fallen triangle pose.
Oh, I have a question.
Uh,
I have a question though, real quick. What do you mean
yeah.
by opens the chest? You mean in this one?
Uh, Meaning you don't crouch it. Actually, it's more of the back protracting, not just the chest. We just
Oh,
want the
okay.
chest to be open up a little bit,
Not crunching
not
in,
too
just
much.
keep it
Not
open across here.
yeah. So it's more of expanding it so that it's going to spread up and down. But in my actual flow that I did, I don't have a picture of that. I have the lower leg floating or bent, but it's floating. It's above the ground, where the upper
Um,
hand is going to hold the knee. so that where I can test if they can flex the hips at the same time, balance on their side.
So you mean this leg is up? The back leg is off the
Yeah,
ground? Oh,
the
okay.
lower leg is up. The lower leg is up or
This
bent
one?
to, yeah, and flex it, no, where the upper hand can hold the knee.
I don't think I know what you mean. Show
Yeah,
me. Show me. Show us.
yeah. So when you're doing that, so it's like this. You see me? Okay.
Oh, which leg is that? Is that your left
The
arm
lower
and
leg.
your right leg?
Yeah, right
Opposite hand
arm,
from the
right arm, yeah, right arm and the same leg, on the same leg.
same leg.
Yeah. I'm
So which hand is
I'm
going to
on
be?
my side plank. I'm on my side
I
plank.
can't see you very well. Let me see.
Oh my God. Very wide.
I can't see you.
I will lower
Okay,
you
there we
down.
go. That's better. Yeah, now I can see you.
Yeah,
So
like
show me.
this. You see me holding on my knee,
Oh, that's
turn,
cool.
and then fold.
Oh, nice. Okay, and that is for you say the
It's
hip
like,
flexion?
yeah, it's like you're doing the half moon pose, but you're floating the leg. Instead, you're also floating the leg at the same time, but instead of the straight leg on the ground, it's the other leg that is now the. Remember when we have this is the like the half, like it's like the half moon pose. This leg is on the floor, isn't it? And this one is
Yeah.
extended back.
Yes.
So this is, yeah,
Okay.
very important. That pose will be very, very important later on.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're working into the twist,
Yes.
your
And at the
lower
same
body
time, some
twist
balance, yeah. With
with
some
the arm,
balancing.
with the arm, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Get to the next
Next one?
next slide. Yeah. Yeah. That's the benefits. No?
Okay.
The next slide.
Oh, I see. So you're talking about this one, but you're going to hold the leg.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Okay. Can we
And
move on,
floating.
Kyla, or do you want to talk about this one more? Okay. Okay.
Oh, one time we can, if you want, we can practice that.
It
Let's
looks
try that.
fun. It looks
Second.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. This one, you need
Yeah.
the warrior three because I need you to really, really extend your leg back. One leg. Because in Eka Pada one, you need to extend one leg back and still holding on to your core. So actually, that's only a preparation for them to do the reversed Adra Tandrasana because I will ask them to lower one hand and then twist to the one side with one hand up.
So you mean Pavrita Ardhachandrasana? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the Parivrita Adra I don't have a picture of that, but that's where
Yeah.
it's going.
So that means, Kyla, just for your reference, this hand comes down and then the right arm is going to go up. So it's a
Yeah.
twist with the leg up in the Oh, yeah, that one's an excellent one for holding the leg up in the air because what happens when you twist is this leg wants to fall down. So
Yes.
holding it up in the air takes a lot of glute and a lot of leg strength, and
Yeah.
that's
Your,
great.
your extensors must be very great. Especially your hamstring
Yeah,
must be able to carry the entire leg.
carry
Yeah.
the leg. Yep. Okay.
Next slide is that's the benefits. We can go to the next slide,
Okay.
which is basically I start them with the forearm side plank first before we go to the full plank.
Okay.
So that I would like to see how high they can lift their sides, no? their hip obliques and their
Right
hips
here.
up.
Right here.
Yeah, struggling. Yeah, if they are struggling in that area, it's going to be really a problem later on. So I want to see. Actually, those are diagnostic poses that I would like them to see. I would like to see if they can do the pose. Then just next slide, that's the benefit. And then we can go to the next slide, which is already the full pose of the side plank. That's where you can stack it up. Your legs can be stuck together,
Right here.
or you can do it with the upper leg forward, like this one. Go to the next slide. You
Oh,
see
okay.
it? Yeah. Yeah, that is a simpler variation when you cannot balance on feet together.
Okay.
Oh, next slide. Yeah. To me, another diagnostic pose is the pendant pose. That they can only use their arms and their forearm to stabilize. Like in a swing, we have the A-frame
Mhm.
that serving as your A-frame, and then I would like to see if they can lift their lower body with the power of their core, no?
Mhm.
Like what I'm demonstrating here. No?
Mhm. Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then next slide. That's it. That's the full pendant pose. No?
Okay.
Lalasana. If you can do that pose, all practically, all possible arm balancing, you can do that.
Mhm.
Now after the core, of course, comes the hips. No? Okay, get to the next slide, please.
Mhm.
Yes, that's the structure of our hips. No? We call it also the pelvis or the pelvic girdle because that's the whole part of the body because we have two girdles, the shoulder girdle and the pelvic girdle, which is moving sometimes in together or sometimes in opposite directions. But we will discuss that later on. It has major four bones, no? The sacrum, the triangle shape part there, which is part of our spinal column.
Mhm.
And then you have the coccyx. Sometimes we call it our tailbone.
Mhm.
But it's also part of our spinal column. And the two hip bones comprising of the ilium, the ischium,
Mhm.
it's under. No? That's where what we call what do you call that? Our sit bones. We call it
Yeah.
our sit
Yes.
bones. And when we balance on our sitting, we want to feel the sit bones and the coccyx, no, on the floor. That's the triangle position of our back. No? And of
Mhm.
course, the pubis, which is in front, that's connect the two bones in the middle. Most of the injuries that's come from the pelvic girdle in the sacroiliac joint, the one behind. When there is too much splits, side split, frontal slips, a lot of those
Right
sometimes yoga
here.
poses.
Yeah, right
So
here.
yes, yeah, can also hurt your SI joint. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. And
Next slide.
just for interest, see these little holes right here? That's where
Uh-huh.
the nerves come out.
Are passing through. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
passing.
to go down to the leg. Yeah.
Yeah, through the coming from the lumbar, the
Mhm.
sciatic nerve that passes through.
Yeah, and
Anyway, these are the functions of the pelvis. Supports the weight of the body, and receives ground forces during walking and transmit them upward towards the vertebrate column. It supports and protects the pelvis viscera, the internal organs. Because remember, it's also a receptacle for a lot of our organs,
Mhm.
and it provides attachment site for a lot of muscles are emanating or originating from the pelvis. Practically all our leg muscles on the femur side are emanating from the pelvis.
Mhm.
You know. And it's also for mothers their birth canal. So if a mother has tight hips, do you have a tight hip, Kyla? You're going to have a problem giving birth.
Ah. Mhm. Mhm.
uh, Next slide.
Okay.
So we go to the movement of the hips, no? The flexion and extension. In coming up, we says that flexion you can go up to 110 to 120 degrees. You can do more flexion, but you have to use some spinal movement also, the upper body movement, to make it at least 180 in some cases, or you can use your hand to pull it up. No? But without moving any part of your body, the flexion is only 110 to 120 for a normal person. The extension is only 10 to 15. But sometimes you bend forward so you can get more extension. But in this case, without moving your upper body, anything, that's only 10 to 15 degrees.
That's
So
without moving the hip as well. The hips stay. Yeah, you could
staying,
you could go higher if you like lift that hip. Yeah.
but if you want higher, you have to move the hips and the spinal column. You have to hinge a little bit forward. That's what it's really important for running, walking, jumping, whatever we do. That's very important. The flexion and extension. That running is basically an flexion and extension movement. Okay, next slide. This is, again, as I discussed earlier, very important in the movement. And the flexion is the psoas again.
Hmm.
It's the primary hip flexor.
Mm-hmm.
It stabilizes the lumbar spine. It flexes and externally rotates the hip too. With the psoas major, it lifts the. And then the next slide, the flexors. These are the muscles of the hip flexors. There's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
The sartorius, remember the one that's really from the upper part going around your leg. That's why if your sartorius are tight, you cannot really walk straight. That's why they say, in haberdashery among men, the sartorial stance. You can really lift your body and turn around. So if you're a model, you have to have very, very flexible sartorius. And then the quad muscles, the rectus femoris, that's where the numbers are corresponding to the circles that you see there.
Rectus
The three vastus.
femoris, vasti lateralis, vastus medialis, and vastus intermedialis.
They're all hip flexors. Yeah. They can also serve as extensors sometimes. You can use that when you what they call point flexor feet. You can activate your entire thigh muscles, which I can also explain later. Next slide, please. The hamstring muscles, which is the extensors, you have four. The two biceps femoris, the long head and the short head, and the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus. Number 4 is very important because it's the one that inserts at the side, and sometimes that is one thing that is very hurting sometimes. When you have weak semimembranous, possible problem with your knee, and it can also tear your ACL, your anterior cruciating ligaments.
In here, in the knee.
Those two are very important. Yeah. So if you've heard of ACL tear or MCL tear, it's because of the weak semitendinosus and the semimembranosus. Okay. Next slide. And then also, it can help you extend your gluteus muscle through the glutes. Practically, you have to engage all the glutes muscles together. In fact, one thing that is really interesting about glutes, the upper and the lower fiber of it, they have different functions at the same time, doing different functions. And many people are not aware of the biggest mass of muscle behind them, and not really engaging them.
The gluteus maximus, right?
Yes. Both, the three.
All three together.
Glutes muscles. Yeah. The next slide. I just want to give you a little bit of preview about spinal flexion and the hip flexion, because sometimes it is being mixed together. Normal lumbar and hip flexion is this way on the first figure. And then if you want to have limited hip flexion but excessive lumbar flexion, when you round your back together. When you have limited lumbar flexion and excessive hip flexion, that is what you do. That is what we do in our halfway lift. We want to lengthen our flexion, and then it's not full flexion because they work together. Because remember, the hips is hinging forward and back. So together with the spine and how you articulate it with the spine, it's very important. In our peak pose, we'll do the second figure. We have a hip flexion and excessive lumbar flexion. We really have to bring in our butt in to be able to do the pose.
Okay.
So this is the case where the hips are working in tandem with the spine. Next slide, please. After talking about the flexion and extension, it's very important also to talk about abduction and adduction. Abduction, any of our limb, whether the hand or the leg, moving away from the center is abduction. Per Leslie Kaminoff, he says that we can, without moving the hips, without moving any part of your body, we can abduct our legs from 30 to 50 degrees. And abducting is moving the limbs, okay, and or leg inside in the center line. It's called adduction, and we can only do adduction for about 30 degrees. But if you add hand movement and other movement of the spine, you can add to that. But that is is what is the average movement that we can make. What they say, the average range of motion. You know, they have they have this instrument to measure our range of motion. They call it goniometer. I have
Yeah.
to see what that looks like.
I have one. I have to find
I
it.
really?
Yeah, I have one.
Ah,
I have one. I had to get one for when I helped research. I did some research with somebody. I have to find it. Yeah. It's
is it
really
expensive?
no,
Is it
no.
expensive?
I got one just from Amazon. It's just a
Ah,
plastic. It has a rod.
mhm.
And it has a like a protractor, so you
Yeah.
can move it, and then it'll tell you how many degrees that
Maybe
angle.
I'll get one of those toys so that I can show it to the students.
Yeah. Do you get
Yeah.
Amazon? Can you get things from Amazon? Is that just
Yeah,
a
yeah, we can. But the
yeah,
problem is the shipment is more expensive.
shipping? Oh, I see. Yeah, I have to look for mine.
Or you can get a like a handler in the US where it regularly ships out
Oh,
orders from Amazon.
yeah.
So it will be a little bit cheaper, but you don't have any guarantee of the time because they have to
Oh,
fill up.
yeah.
So,
Right.
but we have here, I think we have it here in our own Amazon. We have it Lazada. I
Hmm.
haven't really, but I will check it out. And then in the hip movement, the abductors, the primary abductors are the butt muscles, and the tensor fascia lata. Yung what you're showing, Kyla, a little while ago. This one,
That's
this
the IT
orange thing lining up, that's the IT, that's the IT
IT
band.
band. Hmm.
Yeah. And the muscle that it's attached to is called TFL, the tensor fascia lata.
Hmm.
And one of the things that really limits the TFL from moving is you have a drive, or because it's like a ligament with myofascia on top of it. So if the myofascia is not well lubricated, it's so tight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think that your TFL is too tight, but actually it's just the IT band that is really too tight because it's so dry. So
Oops, sorry.
we need to, yeah. And the hip abductors, again, the pelvic floor muscles. The most important hip abductor that we can do is the piriformis, number one. Because if this is too tight, not only it will create piriformis syndrome, which can cause sciatic pain, your walking will be affected also. That's why some old people, they walk like, they're struggling. It's because they're very tight. I'll go to the next slide now. Sorry, I didn't
We
really
have
to go.
other adductors though, don't we? In the inner thigh.
Yeah. Just can you transfer the, yes.
Oh, I
Yan ka,
see. Here we
yes.
go. Yeah, here's the IT band. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, let's see
There.
how it's all
The orange.
it's not a
Yeah,
lot
the
of
orange.
muscle. It's all tendon all the way down. Yeah,
Yeah. It's on top of the TFL, the tensor fascial
right
lata.
here. Yeah.
Sometimes some people attribute the limitation of their movement on abduction is because of the tight TFL. Sometimes it's not the TFL that's at fault, but also the IT band because it can dry up. If it's dry, it's really hard to move it. That will limit the movement of the TFL.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
these
the
are
next slide, ma'am.
yeah, this was what
Yeah,
you already.
yeah. And then again, the hip abductors inside,
Yeah.
number one is the piriformis. Because
Downwards.
if you have tight piriformis, you cannot really do any abduction. Like some old people, they're walking as if they're wobbling
Mhm.
because you can sometimes attribute that to tight piriformis.
Yeah. And then the
And then
piriformis is the one, if it's tight, it'll press on the sciatica nerve. It runs down
yeah,
here. That's when you get that
it's
pain.
very, yeah, I had that before. I know how it feels. It's radiating all the way down to your
All
toes.
the one to your leg. Yeah,
You don't wish that to anyone to happen.
it's not
And
good.
then next slide, ma'am.
Oh, here's all the adductors. Okay.
Yeah, let's go to the adductors, which is very important as well because these are inner thigh muscles
Yeah.
that you need to adduct.
Long grip.
And if that is also tight, you can barely put your feet to the center. So you have the pectineus on the upper part of the body, the adductors, the adductors, the gracilis, and the quadratus femoris. You're looking at the front of the body. You're looking at the front of the
Yeah,
body.
this is the front of the knees, the patella right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please.
I'm gonna
Now after the,
I need to just go. Let me just check on my mom for a second. I hear her
yeah,
call.
yeah.
Give me just 2 minutes.
I'll drink some water too.
Okay.
How are you, Kyla?
Good.
Yeah.
I had a good day at school. The kids were good. Yesterday was hard, but today was good. We had fun, and now it's the weekend, so I get to relax now.
I would rather teach college students
Really?
than preschool students. It's really, you need to have a lot of patience, which
Yeah,
you have, and it's a good thing for teachers and yoga
yeah.
teachers to have a lot of patience.
Definitely, I think, and there's not a lot of men who teach younger kids also because I feel like it's a little overwhelming that they don't have like the bandwidth to, be able to contain all of that energy from that many kids.
I know.
But it's fun, and when it's a little out of control, I just remind myself, I'm like, they're only 6. They don't even know what they're doing half the time. So it's
Do you have
good.
tenure already in your district, school district? Do you have tenure
No,
already?
not yet. This is my first year teaching.
Oh,
So this is my first class, but well, I've taught before. This is my first class. That's my own. So it's nice. And they're so sweet. My kids are really sweet. So that helps.
how big is your school? How many students?
Um, I'm not sure, but it's from kindergarten till 8th grade.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay.
So
Here-
let's move to the next one, the internal
Okay.
and external rotations. Because in the peak pose, you need a little bit of internal rotations for your back leg. Because when you want to extend it, internal rotation can help you. Internal rotation is when your thigh bone or any limb is turning away from the midline. So, and internal rotation when any of your limb, of course, when the femur or the humerus rotates within the hip joint towards the midline of the body. According to Kaminov, external rotation average is 45-degree, internal rotation is 45-degree without moving any part of your body.
Yeah.
And then these are the external rotators. Again, the abductor muscles help. The
Oh, we got it. We
sartorius.
got it backwards. So
Next,
we just saw the external. Here's the external.
Yeah, next slide.
And this is the internal.
The external first.
External. External here.
Yeah. Yes. On the 43, number 43. There it is. You have the abductor muscles to help you in the external rotation, the sartorius and the bicep femoris.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
And we did internal.
Yeah. You need to work this one, but
Right.
it's not very really important for our big pose. But what is important is the internal rotators.
Okay.
Because that is where you need the back leg to lift it up higher. You need to internally rotate your upper leg.
Okay.
So you have all these muscles that will help you in the internal rotations from the glutes, the two glutes, the tensor fascia lata, the TFL, and the semitendinosus, the part of the biceps in front. Yeah.
Okay. This one. All right.
And these are the things that I start with. First is of course, test them out in half forward fold or the flat back.
Mhm.
Then next slide, just next slide. Then that's the, they can have their fingertips or their hands or whatever they can place it. And then the standing forward fold, the Uttanasana. With me, I sometimes ask them to bring the weight a little bit forward towards the balls of the feet. So something like a feeling of falling forward, but not really falling. But that is the sensation that I want them to feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then next slide. Then that is the variation when they have their hands be on the block. And then next to that, I do the next slide, please.
The next
The chair
day.
pose.
Okay.
The chair pose. Because as you can see here, that the hips are not flaring out. The tailbone down toward the floor. It's on a, your hips here are on neutral state. No? Belly in, spine blend. Okay. So on this, in this pose, wherein the knee is almost, it's not going past through the toes, you're really working on your quads here. But if you move a little bit forward, almost past the toes, you're also activating your calf muscles. And it will also activate some muscles surrounding the ankles. Okay, next slide. This is just the benefits. Next slide. And then I follow it up with the lowlands first as a way of opening the hips. This is the more gentle way of opening the hips without need for too much balance.
Okay.
And then that's the benefits. So next. And then the next one is the lizard pose. Yeah. This is not important, but you just want to see the opening. We test the opening of their hips because later on they will twist that. So we need some. I want to see the opening of their hips on a frontal level. The next is this is the possible if you cannot do forearm down, you can just do the hands down or without block. And the next slide. Then go for the crescent lunge or the high lunge. Where you want them to open up the hips back and forth and balance them. Okay, next slide. Another slide is the variation of the Virabhadrasana, the warrior one. Are you now in warrior one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Because to me, balancing is challenging in crescent lunge, but in terms of squaring the hip, it is more challenging, the warrior one, in the sense of really moving, squaring your hips to the front. It's easy to in the crescent lunge to square your hips because your back
Because
foot is
your
not.
foot, yeah, the foot is not rotated.
Yeah.
So when
This is
the foot is rotated to set it down, then that
yeah
rotates the leg, which can rotate the hip. So you have
yeah
to rotate the thigh forward while this is rotating in. So
yeah
there's a spiral within the leg.
yes. Okay, next slide. Then we go to the warrior two.
Yep.
Again, this is a hip
Warrior two.
opening pose, no?
Yeah.
You see those arrows that I'm saying, yeah.
Yep.
It's still you have to be energetically spread your arms forward and back without tilting your torso forward or back.
Right.
So your torso must be in the center. And try as much as possible to make that knee as high as your hips. Okay, that's the back. Next slide. And then the other slide. I'm not going to go anymore to downward facing dog, but that's more important is the component of the hip opening in downward facing dog. So this is a three-legged downward facing dog. Yeah, where your hips are squared, your shoulder and hips are squared on the floor. You're not yet twisting your hips here.
This one? Okay.
Both the hips. If you will notice, both the hips and the shoulders are squared down on the floor.
Right.
Now, the variation here is that when you have to start tilting it, but without having to move your shoulder, you have to tip the shoulder. That's what we have discussed yesterday.
Yeah.
That you can open the hips to one side without necessarily the shoulders following the. This is a case of twist variation in the downward facing dog,
Which
which is
actually,
quite important.
is a oblique. It's an oblique
Yes, on the other
stabilizing.
side,
If
you're
you keep
stretching.
if you keep your shoulders square, you have to use your obliques to keep that right shoulder from rotating when the leg is rotating.
Yeah, and also you one side of the oblique is contracted, one other one is straightened, extending.
Okay.
It's a good measure of your oblique strength too.
Mhm.
These are the benefits.
Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped over them.
And yeah, go to the next slide. Then go to the next slide, which is the one final in terms of the hip opening is the the pigeon pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic hip opening pose
Yeah.
when your one leg is bent forward, and you can straighten the body up.
Yeah.
Because some people, if they have very tight hips, they will lean forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
this
next
is
slide.
going to go into the psoas right here. So it's
Yes.
double duty. Psoas on this side, glutes on the other side.
Yeah. You see the red arrow pointing up. Yeah. Straighten.
My mom
Next
is
slide.
getting antsy.
Oh,
Yeah. So
what do you think?
let's see what time it is. Let me text and see what's happening. Have somebody
Where
watch.
is he?
She's here, but I hear her. She must just be getting antsy. Let's go ahead and finish. We're on. How far are we, Manny?
About we're already more than halfway. It's about 30% because we're going now to we're going to the twisting side.
Oh,
The
okay.
twists.
Maybe we'll need to
Also,
take it into next week.
no, it's up to you. Yeah.
Let-
We go
yeah,
to the spine.
Let's see where we are as far as let's finish this with this, and we'll save this twisting section. Getting into let's save that for next week. I don't want
We
to.
can go straight. We can go straight to the pose itself.
No, I
This is
want to go through. Let's see. Spinal twist. No, I think these are good. We should look at those. Yeah, I think we should look at that. It's good to have all this detail that you're giving us. So let's finish up with the with this, and then we'll
I can share with you that the continuing study that I make will come into play when you're preparing your lesson plan. You just don't prepare a lesson plan based on whatever is you know prescribed poses for a certain peak pose, but rather study what strength are required to be able to do that peak pose and what kind of movement. Sometimes I don't really use. I complement that with other training, like the use of resistance band,
Mhm.
and then sometimes I do a TRX. That's why they have very very strong chaturanga because I make them do planks and do push up when their feet are hanging on the TRX, that they're not relying on their feet to really lift them up. So it's a purely upper body strength and the core strength for them to go up and down.
So what that is, Kyla, is there's like not a rope, but a strap that suspends in the air, and they put their feet in the strap.
Inside.
Hands are on the floor, so their legs are like completely parallel like that, and then this is the arms here, and this is where they're gonna do the movement while the legs are suspended in the air. And
It's more difficult.
it's
It's more
challenging
difficult than it's more difficult than doing the push up with all
with the
the
toes
feet
down.
on the floor.
Because what happens too is because the legs are in the strap or the feet are in the strap, it can sway or it can move.
Okay.
So in
Right.
order to keep it from moving, you have to really do a lot more core because you don't want to be swaying all over the place. So yeah, it's really good strengthening.
Because that's why most of my students are successful in their endeavor, because before my class on the yoga, I make them do TRX on Mondays, where I plan whatever class I plan for the next day for their peak poses.
Yeah.
I already prepare their body.
That's awesome.
so
Yeah, great. Well,
so let's
thank
stop
you,
here
man.
at the spinal twist.
Yeah, let's save that for next week. Is that okay?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
And then we'll go on to the peak after that, right? Is that the last segment?
How long did it take me? An hour or an hour?
It's 6:20. I didn't pay attention to when I stopped. So, but we started at 4, somewhere before 5. So I think it's only yeah, you're about an hour already, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, about an hour. So no, but no, and I want to save and then hopefully Amanda can join us and she can participate too next week.
Because I want your reaction to this, because I intend to lecture this to my teachers, so that I want them to learn how to plan a class and how they should study further, so that they can incorporate all those knowledge into their plan, not just coming up with a lesson plan with the sequences of movements without knowing the whys and wherefores of those poses. They have to really think deeper than what they're used to.
Yeah. It's good. Very, very good. Thank you, Manny. It's awesome. Did a great job. Lots of detail, and I really appreciate the visuals are super helpful, to understand the.
Actually, these are visuals are not just now. We have a catalog, or we have a library of different poses of our own people. I just have to pick them up, whatever I want to do. So we have that library. I just pick
Oh,
them up.
that's cool. Oh, I meant of the muscles. Those
Yeah,
are for me. I love seeing
yeah,
those. Yeah, but I love
I pick it up from the Raylong and all those books
yeah, those are
and
good.
clean it up, and then I have it cleaned up, and it's in our library too.
Okay, cool. So thank you,
And by the
Manny.
way,
Thank
if you
you.
want to look at the last page, because I just want you to, I do not want to claim any credit for this. These are my references on the last.
Okay, yeah.
We have 7. This is a combination of the 7 books that I have combined them. Yeah, and plus my own inputs. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Manny.
I gave them.
Get it.
I gave these books to you.
Yeah.
So, the
Yeah, they're familiar. They're familiar. Yeah. All right. So I think that's it for us today. Any thoughts? Any last comments?
Thank you, Annie. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you
So much. Thank you for all
Good
that.
good luck with your kids, Kyla.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll be emailing you. I'll get this recorded and sent out. And any other final words?
Have a good
All
weekend.
good? Yes.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Thank you. Thank you, Manny, for sharing. That was wonderful. All right, you guys take care. Oh, I'm on a trip next week.
Oh,
So I'll be back Friday. So let's meet Friday, California time, Saturday for you, Manny.
okay.
And then we'll finish this up.
Okay.
All
No
right.
problem.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Take care. Namaste, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Kyla.
Bye.